Hey folks, welcome to another VR video. Recently I tried the MetaQuest Pro for the first time at the Meta store, and I couldn't get enough of it, to be perfectly honest. I had 30 minutes of demo time there, but I wanted to try it in a different environment. So over the last weekend, my wife and I went and searched multiple Best Buy locations to find one that actually had the demo set up correctly and ready to go, and we were successful. It did take 3 stores locally to do that though, so your mileage may vary if you're looking for a Best Buy in your general vicinity that may have this particular demo setup. So the way this works is if you go to a participating Best Buy location, they will have a Meta representative there. Currently, the hours are Saturday and Sunday from 12 to 6, but they might be there a little bit longer each weekend. And when you go in, they will have 2 MetaQuest Pro and a Quest 2 available to demo. The reason there are 2 is because I assume battery life makes it so that you don't want to have one sitting there off charge for 8 hours and eat up that time for particular demos. So they have them both on charging pads. This was the first time I was able to see that protective cover that goes on the front of the device. It's kind of like a rubbery silicone style cover. And it was also the first time I got to try to use the partial light blockers that go on the sides of the headset to kind of mitigate light coming in on the sides. They offered 9 different demo experiences with Archeo, Figment XR, Gravity Sketch, Immersed, Painting VR, Shapes XR, The World Beyond, Tribe, and Trip, and they put them into kind of a demo kiosk mode on the device. So you couldn't go out and back to the actual menu screens, and it was locked to very specific feature sets. So for example, if you launched into Archeo or Figment XR, it launched you automatically into pass-through mode. And I'm assuming that would happen with other applications as well. We only tried 2 each, my wife and I. But when you launch in, it keeps you in pass-through mode, and if you tap the side of the headset, which will take you back into an immersive mode, that doesn't work. It's locked. You're also locked out of eye tracking and facial tracking. Those features are completely removed, essentially, in the Best Buy demo experience. You also don't have a multiplayer connection or a party connection because you're not connecting on Best Buy's Wi-Fi at all. You're also timed during that demo. It starts out with a waiver screen, and once you accept that waiver, the timer clock starts. And it sounds like the timer is different at different stores. Some stores have it set to 5 minutes, some stores have it set to 10 minutes. My wife and I each had around 10 minutes with the device. So this was my wife's first try with the MetaQuest Pro, and she tried Archeo. It actually opened up into the application because I guess it had not been reset from a previous demo. And she was pretty wowed by the fact that there was like a house sitting directly in front of her, but she could still see myself and the Meta third-party contractor representative there in front of her. So that pass-through mode definitely is an eye-catcher, if you will. I still saw the same imperfections. I will say I have heard that in pass-through mode, they are working to actually improve it a little bit further before the launch of the device. So I do want to keep in mind the fact that all current demos that are happening are pre-launch, prior to the Quest Pro shipping. These are probably launch hardware units, but the software itself can of course be improved over time. And there's rumor at least that the pass-through mode will be one of the things that does get some improvements when the Quest Pro launches at retail on the 25th of October. The partial light blockers actually kind of distracted me and made me feel a little bit more confined. I really enjoyed using the Quest Pro at the Meta store with no light shields, with no facial interface. I will say though that the partial light blockers did not in any way touch or press against my face based on the way I had the eye relief adjusted on the little forehead pad. The headset still had the same amount of comfort that I had in my initial demos, and it was kind of cool to walk around in the square defined Guardian that they made at Best Buy, and I got to finally try out Figment XR on a Quest device. I've used that particular application on multiple AR devices. The Magic Leap 1 and the Nreal Light I have here in my home, and I've also tried it on a HoloLens too. So trying it on the Quest Pro, it's really cool, and the pass-through mode certainly adds to how that particular application works. My wife and I both launched into Tilt Brush within Figment XR, and drew some kind of sketches. I was actually tracing her cell phone at a portion of it. And I will say it was a little bit weird because tracing directly around the cell phone and then looking at the dimensions, if I step back of that image, it actually made a larger image around that trace than the actual cell phone dimensions itself. So maybe that's some of the trickery around pass-through, where it might be making a larger image smaller, a smaller image larger. Can't really put my finger on it just yet, but it'll be something I definitely test once I have hardware in-house later this month or early next month. The demo experience at the Meta store was extremely special. When we went into the store, they gave us an onboarding experience with the differences between the Quest 2 and Quest Pro, and then we went in and got to do the demo for 30 minutes with a party with another Meta store employee. There was a lot more social interactivity there and extreme knowledge base from all of the employees in that store. The experience at the Best Buy location was a little bit different. When you go in, they're like, you want to try this? They hand it to you. They didn't really help with fitment in any way. They said, hey, you can turn this dial on the back. But they didn't explain anything about the forehead pad and how it helped with eye relief. They didn't talk about IPD adjustment. They didn't talk about how the controllers work. Just, here's the controllers. Make sure you put the wrist straps on. So they kind of do the bare minimum, and that may be because they haven't been fully trained yet, to be perfectly honest. These demos hit on Saturday directly after the keynote, and these are third-party contractors. These are not full Meta employees that may have been briefed ahead of time. So it's not the fault of those contractors in any way, but I will say the demo at Best Buy felt a lot more impersonal and a lot less informative. You kind of have to inform yourself ahead of time before you go into the Best Buy location, or you may ask questions that the person that's there to administer those demos is not going to be able to answer for you. I felt like we were locked out of a lot of features at the Best Buy location, but there was still enough there that I would still encourage going and trying a headset at your local Best Buy or Curry's or other locations that may have these in the future. Overall, this really showed me something that I kind of doubted in the beginning with the Meta store. I was like, why do you need to have a Meta store when you have all these big box locations where you can just send Meta representatives? Reality is those big box locations are big box locations. They want high traffic and they want you in and out of their stores so they can get more traffic in. Whereas the Meta store really focuses on you as an individual customer, trying to win you over on their products. So it is a very different experience, and I'm glad the Meta store exists, and I'm hoping that they might expand the Meta store, something I never thought I'd ever say, to other locations in the future. This particular demo experience really showed me the value of having a store that's specialized the way that the Meta store is. One more thing I want to go back to is people keep asking me, do I think this is something that they should pre-order or pick up? And I keep saying, I think that you should try before you buy. And I want to once again liken it to something else that's out in the world. When I buy a cell phone, I tend to go to a store that has those phones operable in front of me so that I can test them out first before I pick one up. There's the possibility that someone might go to a store, try the iPhone SE next to the iPhone Pro Max, decide they go with the iPhone SE. They have a similar feature set, but there might be a little bit more comfort, a little bit more screen size, a little bit more resolution in the pictures. There might be better video features on that iPhone Pro Max that you don't necessarily need for what you want to do with a device that the iPhone SE at a much lower price point and a smaller screen size might give you. Same thing applies on the Android side of things. The Samsung Galaxy A53 might meet your needs and has a much lower price point than the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. That's honestly where I think we're at with the Quest 2 and the Quest Pro. The Quest 2 is a device that still, in my opinion, meets the needs of pretty much any consumer. It has the feature set that I think is exciting, and it's priced pretty well, to be perfectly honest. The Quest Pro is if you want to step above that. Things like better comfort, lighter weight, what I would consider better optics, better pixel density, better dark colors, and really more vivid colors overall. The audio, I think, and I haven't really A/B tested yet, is also slightly improved over the Quest 2. So there's all of these subtle improvements, plus that color pass-through, which I still consider black and white mixed with color because that's what it looks like to me and that's actually how it's being done. But all of these features added together and the additional sensors and the Quest Touch Pro controllers all make this a much more expensive device to produce and a much more expensive device to purchase. And I think that that value set is there. Do I think you should go out and buy it? It's hard for me to say because there is so much value in the lower cost Quest 2 device, and there's not that huge a leap of an upgrade to move to the Quest Pro. I'm absolutely still on the fence on this one, but I am going to be trying the device out again, kind of continuing my Quest Pro tour of demos pre-launch. I'm going to be going down to Los Angeles to Adobe Max and trying it on the show floor there in the Community Pavilion. And I'll probably have some thoughts and share the difference in that experience in a future video as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really appreciate the attention and the folks' responses to the previous MetaQuest Pro video that I made at the Meta Store. I've always wanted to make this channel about sharing my VR experiences to help others decide if they want to take the leap into VR. And the response I've had has been really, really invigorating. So thank you for that. I'll be back with more content soon. Until next time, get out there and enjoy some VR for yourself. And thanks for watching.